The goal boss had devoured every shot, erased every teammate. Now Kenta was the last forward standing on floor 49, a towering colossus of shadow and steel. Its health bar filled the sky. The penalty timer ticked down as Kenta lunged to avoid a claw swipe. A translucent panel flickered in his peripheral vision. Trade menu, scrolling stats. At the bottom, a single item glowed. Weak point, instep, price 1 coin.
My last dungeon coin. The pity gift from surviving the tutorial.
Without hesitation, he jabbed the purchase button. The goal boss froze instantly, its massive leg glowing where the weak point had been revealed.
A single, perfect shot to that spot will shatter it.
The stadium fell absolutely silent. Kenta planted his foot, drawing back. He wasn't just fighting a monster. He was exploiting the game itself. The ball left his foot like a bullet, screaming across the silent pitch. It struck the glowing instep with a sound like cracking stone. The goal boss shattered into a billion shards of light. A staircase of blazing code erupted from the ground, spiraling upward to floor 50. He turned toward the staircase, but a new message flickered on the trade panel. True boss location unlocked. Unbeatable without patch. Item: Game Manual Fragment. Price: 1 soul coin. Triumph curdled into ice. He didn't know what a soul coin was, but the dungeon wasn't done with him.
A soul coin. Not a dungeon coin. What does the game want from me now?
The staircase blazed like a taunt. The only way forward was deeper into the trap. He wasn't a player anymore. He'd found the cheat, and now the dungeon wanted a piece of him. Kenta climbed the last step. Floor 50 was no arena, just a vast, silent void.
No enemies. No goal. Just endless emptiness.
A crystalline console rose from the floor, emitting a cold, synthetic hum.
Welcome to the Soul Farm. Your teammates did not die. They were harvested. Each erased player becomes a soul coin. You are the next candidate for processing.
They're not dead. They're fuel. I am just livestock to this system.
The game manual fragment contains the truth. Find it to break the cycle.
The terminal went dark before Kenta could demand more. He was alone again.
I'll find that fragment. I won't be harvested like a piece of meat.
But the void offered no path. Only the cryptic quest and the weight of his last coin. A weary voice cut through the silence. Someone else had survived floor 50.
You made it. I didn't think anyone would beat the goal boss.
Who are you? And how are you still alive?
I hid when my team was erased. I've been waiting for someone to break the system. The game manual fragment is on floor 0. I know the way, but you'll need a soul coin to get in.
A soul coin? The same currency the system demanded. What does she know? What's the catch? Why would you help me?
Because I can't end this alone. The cost of a soul coin is terrible. You'll have to sacrifice something precious.
Sacrifice? I've already lost my team. What else could this dungeon take from me? Fine. Show me this trial. I'll get the soul coin.
Rina led Kenta down a dark corridor. Ahead, massive pendulum blades swung in a deadly rhythm.
This is the first trial. Cross before the timer hits 0, or the blades will erase you.
One misstep, and I am erased, just like my teammates.
Without hesitation, Kenta sprinted into the corridor. The first blade whooshed past his ear. He ducked, rolled, sidestepped, each dodge a fraction of a second from oblivion.
The timer. I can't stop. I can't slow down.
At the final stretch, 3 blades converged. Kenta launched himself into a desperate dive. He hit the stone floor on the other side as the timer flashed 0. The blades froze.
Made it, but I am still alive. Barely.
That was only the first test. The next one. It'll judge your soul.
The second chamber was empty, save for a lone pedestal. A soul coin rested on it, faintly glowing. Then a figure shimmered into existence. A teammate Kenta had watched the goal boss erase.
Taro, is that you? No, it can't be real.
The specter begged, its voice a hollow echo, pleading for Kenta to save it from fading.
Sacrifice the illusion to claim the coin. Spare it and fail the trial.
It's just a trap. A cruel test. But it feels so real.
A ghostly teammate screamed as Kenta hesitated, its form flickering with agony.
I can't let it suffer. Even if it's not real, but I know the truth.
This was only a projection of his guilt. To win, he had to accept the loss. He lunged, not to save, but to destroy. His hand passed through the specter's chest. It shattered. The soul coin fell into his palm, cold and heavy. Rina led Kenta to a hidden gate on the void's edge, an obsidian door with a coin-shaped slot.
Insert the soul coin. The door to floor 0 will recognize the price you paid.
He pressed the coin in. The door groaned and slid apart, revealing a staircase spiraling into darkness. They descended into an oppressive cold. At the bottom, a vast chamber opened. A book floated there, bound in chains of crackling light.
The game manual fragment. It's really here, but the air feels like a held breath, waiting.
The chains tightened with each pulse of static, the book seeming to breathe.
This is as far as I go. The manual will test you on its own. Be careful what you read.
She's hiding something, but I have no choice now.
Kenta approached, the chains pulling taut as if warning him away. His fingers brushed the ancient cover. Runes exploded with blinding light, and the first page began to turn. As the pages turned, the truth erupted. The dungeon was no game. It was a dying god's prison. Visions bled from the pages, an immense deity, chained by its own code, bleeding souls into the pitch.
It built the dungeon to harvest players, to find a body strong enough to hold its consciousness.
The god would transfer its mind into the winner, but only if that winner proved their worth through sacrifice. The manual's text burned into his mind. Reading this marks you as candidate. You will become the vessel or be erased. A searing mark etched itself onto his chest, the symbol of the god's claim.
I am not a player anymore. I am a sacrifice waiting to happen.
To survive, you must sacrifice another soul. Only then will the god release you.
The book's final words hung in the air: become a monster or be devoured. He had sought a cheat. Instead, he found a cage where the key was someone else's life.
You knew this would happen. You led me here to be sacrificed.
I was a candidate once. I escaped by hiding here. I thought you could break the cycle.
She had been trapped here for years, hoping someone would resist the god's will.
The only way, without sacrifice, is to face the true boss and destroy its core. No one has ever survived.
So I don't have to become a monster, but defeating a god. Is that even possible?
Rina's warning hung heavy. It was suicide. But Kenta's resolve only hardened.
Then, I'll be the first. I won't sacrifice anyone else. I'll find a way.
He clutched the manual, the mark burning. His choice was made.
I'll lead you to its chamber. But once inside, you are on your own. Don't let the god twist you.
Kenta would face the nightmare armed only with the truth and his refusal to become a monster. The final door opened into a cathedral of darkness. The true boss hung in the void, a colossus of writhing souls.
It's made of all the players who were erased. Their faces are still screaming.
The entity stirred, its countless eyes snapping open. A chorus of lost voices howled. It had sensed the candidate.
It knows I am here. My mark. It's calling to it.
Kenta launched a powerful kick at its nearest limb. The impact echoed, but not a single crack appeared.
Not even a scratch. My attacks are useless.
Its core is shielded. You can't hurt it like this.
The boss swatted him aside like a ragdoll. Kenta crashed into the bone-strewn floor.
The trade menu. Maybe I can buy its weakness. But I only have one soul coin left.
But when he summoned the panel, it flickered with distortion. The dungeon's interference was growing stronger. He was running out of options. Through the static, the trade menu struggled to stabilize. Kenta forced his will onto the flickering interface. Finally, a single listing resolved on the panel. No stats, no weak points, just one item. True boss, weakness. Price, 1 soul coin.
The same coin I got from that twisted trial. So the dungeon intended this all along.
He clutched the cold coin, its wailing face staring back. The price was not the coin itself. It was what the coin represented. A soul coin was forged through sacrifice. To use it, he would have to burn a piece of his own existence.
My memories. My identity. If I pay with that, what will be left of me?
He saw flashes of his teammates, their laughter, their final moments. The cost was cruel, but the alternative was annihilation.
No sacrifice? Then the boss crushes me? Sacrifice? Then I lose everything that made me who I am.
The coin trembled in his grip. Time was running out. The true boss's next strike would be fatal. Kenta looked at the coin one last time, then clenched it tight. He knew what he had to do.
Forgive me, everyone. I am going to lose you all over again.
He slammed the coin onto his chest, activating the forging protocol. A searing light erupted from his body. Threads of memory were ripped from his mind. The laughter of teammates, the weight of a soccer ball, the faces he loved. The threads wove into a new coin, pulsing with the glow of his past. Without hesitation, he slammed the newly forged coin into the trade menu. Purchase complete. The true boss froze. A blazing core became visible in its chest, its weakness revealed.
I don't remember their names anymore, but I know what I have to do.
He planted his foot and drew back, the emptiness inside him now a weapon. The core pulsed, waiting. One final kick was all that stood between him and the end of the dungeon. With a final breath, Kenta unleashed the kick. His foot connected with the core in a thunderous crack. A deafening shriek erupted from the boss as its very being began to fracture. The colossus shattered into a billion shards of light and static, swallowed by the vacuum of its own destruction. Then, the dungeon itself began to scream. The ground split, and walls of code crumbled. Kenta stumbled upright, the void around him unraveling into a vortex of failing data.
The whole dungeon is collapsing. Find the exit, now.
A tear in reality flickered ahead, a way out and a final trap. Through it, he saw the faint outline of daylight.
I don't know if I'll survive this jump, but staying here means certain death.
Without looking back, Kenta sprinted toward the opening. The floor disintegrated behind his every step. He dove into the light, and the dungeon collapsed into silence, leaving only a void behind. Kenta crashed onto a fractured platform, not the outside world, but a limbo between dimensions.
You have defeated the true boss. The dungeon requires a new administrator. Accept and become the god. Reject, and the dungeon falls. But you will lose everything, even what little remains of your mind.
Become the new god, or lose everything. Is that really what I fought for?
You would be immortal. Control the dungeon. Reshape reality. All it costs is your current self.
I didn't fight through hell just to become the next jailer. I reject your offer.
He slammed his palm onto the terminal, pressing the reject rune.
Rejection accepted. The dungeon will collapse in 60 seconds. No escape. You chose oblivion.
A final door materialized ahead, but it was already crumbling. Kenta had seconds to reach it. Every step felt heavier, his mind eroding with the dungeon. He reached for the light, knowing it might take the last of him. The crumbling door spat him out into a chamber of pure code. At its center, a pulsating heart of light. The dungeon's true core.
The source. If I destroy this, the dungeon ends forever. No more resurrections.
He grabbed a loose stone from the crumbling floor and smashed it against the core. The entire dimension convulsed. The core shrieked with static and resisted, each strike draining his strength. His arms went numb. His vision blurred.
It's trying to drain the last of me, but I won't let it.
He raised the stone and brought it down again, and again, each impact weaker, but he refused to stop. A spiderweb of cracks burst across the heart. Blinding light erupted, and the dungeon let out a final, silent scream. The force flung Kenta across the chamber. A tear in reality ripped open, a direct portal to the outside world.
No more dungeon. No more soul farming. I ended it.
He was sucked into the rip, the dungeon's death throes chasing him into the light. Kenta opened his eyes to a silent ruin. Stone and dust, and a pale dawn bleeding across the sky. He didn't know how he got there. He didn't know why his chest ached, or why his eyes burned. He looked around for someone. Anyone. The scattered stones held no names, no faces. Then he noticed the weight in his palm. A single coin, cold against his skin. He stared at it. It meant something. He could feel that. But the meaning was gone. No memories came. No team names. No stadium cheers. Just the quiet of the dawn. Rena never emerged from the ruins. She was a ghost now, a story he couldn't remember escaping from. He didn't know what he had lost. He only knew he had survived. With the coin as his only keepsake, he began to walk toward a horizon that held no promises. The dungeon was dead, and he was, at last, free, though he would never know why. The figure grew smaller against the dawn, then paused. A slight weight in his pocket pulled at him. He pulled out the coin, holding it as if it were a stranger's trinket. He stared for a long moment, but found nothing. No recognition, no reason. His fingers loosened. The coin slipped and hit the stone with a soft chime. He didn't look back. His footsteps continued, growing quieter. The coin lay alone, its faint glow dying like the last ember of a forgotten fire. It had witnessed kingdoms fall, souls traded, a god's last breath. Now it was just metal and silence. A final flicker, a message scripted into the dungeon's dying code, etched across the void. Game over, but not forgotten. And the light took the words, leaving only the quiet and the road ahead. Deep in the dungeon's memory, the moment echoed. A boy, a coin, a deal no one thought possible. He held not a coin, but a piece of himself, memories of laughter, of victory, of loss. And he spent it. With a single touch, he bought the weakness of a god. The trade was irrevocable. That kick shattered not just a monster, but a cycle of torment, and it cost him everything he was. Now, that payment lies in the dust, a coin with no owner, a soul with no story. The dungeon took his past, but in its last breath, it etched a message for anyone who might find this place. A warning, a eulogy, a frail hope that the sacrifice would be remembered. Somewhere, a boy walks free, his pockets empty, his mind a blank slate. He paid the ultimate price, and because of that price, the soul farm is dead. No more players will be harvested. So the story ends, not with a grand celebration, but with the quiet echo of a coin, and a cost that will never be tallied. The boy who walked away was not the boy who entered the dungeon. That boy had been spent like currency. Every laugh, every scar, every name he ever shouted in a stadium, gone. Only instinct remained, yet something inside him refused to lie down. A dormant fire that the dungeon could not extinguish, Rena's fate remained sealed in the collapsed halls, a phantom guardian who finally found rest. The souls trapped in the boss, once howling faces, had scattered into the dawn like wind-blown starlight. They carried no names, no stories, only the silent gratitude of release. The cycle was broken, and the one who paid the price would never collect the debt. He would never even know he was owed anything. That was the truest sacrifice, not the loss, but the forgetting that anything was ever lost. In the silence that followed, only the wind spoke, and it told no tales of heroes. But somewhere, in a world that owed him a debt it could never repay, a door closed forever, and a new one cracked open. The coin lay on the stone until the sun climbed higher, its warmth bringing no life back into the metal. The world, ignorant of the battle fought beneath it, went on. Birds sang, wind swept, clouds drifted. A traveler's shadow fell across the coin, a wanderer with no name, no purpose, but open hands. A hand, calloused and gentle, lifted the coin. It held no answers, only the faintest warmth of a forgotten sun. In the traveler's eye reflected the coin and a distant memory of cheers, a ghost of a ghost. Without a word, the traveler pocketed the coin. Not as a treasure, but as a reminder, something was lost here. The road stretched forward, empty and endless, and the traveler followed it, as all survivors do. In a world where a boy had bought a god's weakness for a coin, the only profit was freedom. The only profit was freedom, and it belonged to everyone now. No fanfare, no statues, just a clear sky and a road that didn't lead to a dungeon. And somewhere, in the quiet of a forgotten stadium, the echo of a kick still lingered, a goal that saved the world from itself. The traveler did not know the story. He only felt a strange warmth in his pocket, as if a heartbeat lingered in the metal. Miles away, the stadium crumbled further, its goalposts bent like tired giants, the pitch a field of wildflowers. A soccer ball, forgotten in a corner, gently deflated under the sun, the last witness to the impossible goal. The wind whispered through the broken stands, carrying no names, only the faintest vibration of a crowd that once was, deep in the earth. The dungeon's code had dissolved into harmless static, its crystal shards becoming soil for new life. No monuments were raised, no songs sung. The only proof was a coin now in a wanderer's pocket, and a boy who forgot why he cried when he saw a goal. Yet the world breathed easier. The sky seemed clearer, the sun warmer, and the nights less frightening. The traveler reached a quiet village, where no one knew of dungeons. He sat by a well, took out the coin, and smiled, though he didn't know why. It was a smile born not of memory, but of a debt repaid. The world's unconscious thanks to the one who paid all. And as the sun set, Casting gold over the village, the coin caught the light one last time, and a single, iridescent tear slid from its engraved eye, a soul finally at peace. He closed his hand around the coin, the tear fading into the metal, and looked out at the village that would never know his name. In the distance, children kicked a ball of rags, laughing. He watched them for a moment, then turned away. He didn't know why the sight made his chest ache, only that it was a good ache, like a muscle stretched after a long rest. He walked on, the road unfurling before him, and the village noises grew faint. The world was vast and didn't need heroes. It needed ordinary people to plant seeds, to laugh, to live, and that was perhaps the greatest victory. Not the defeat of a god, but the quiet restoration of a world where gods were unneeded. The coin would pass to another, and another, a silent legacy, a debt forever unpaid, a love forever anonymous. And the boy who once kicked a ball through a god's heart, he had become a man who walked without a past, but with a future of his own making. In the end, he was not the hero who was celebrated. He was the one who made celebration possible. And so, under the infinite stars, the story of the one coin cheat faded into legend, not forgotten, but finally at peace.